Hello again, and welcome back to the stream. And hopefully, with this one, we don't get any freezing or crashes or anything like that. So we're going to play Redbone in this one. This goes into Group D, which is now pretty much complete. Just waiting on one. And he says black tees, at least medium winds as its desert course. Let's go for pin 3. So let's chuck a medium, and we will go west. Westerly wind. Oh, here we go. I find westerly winds to be the most fun / easiest, and north south to be the most difficult. Cool. Any key design features? Lots of dirt. I like my clubhouse area. Lots of can be used, not a ton of bunkers that are in play. Medium difficult, tough for elite / platinum, and no real life courses. Okay, this will be interesting. So now Rearview has always done some really interesting stuff, and visually been really good. The CC course, he kind of conversely to Charlie's we were just playing with, where we were saying take more risks. His CC one, he went for a winter course that was bunkerless, and it took loads of risks, and kind of didn't quite go the right way with a lot of that. But taking those risks, like, you learn stuff. Now the clubhouse area is definitely cool. Is a desert course. You can see some very wide fairways, and big bunkers and things. Lots of dirt. Okay. Desert course with a lot of the remove heavy rough stuff. But I think he really did some great stuff at the end of 21. So his National Treasure course from Rhode Island, maybe, did particularly well. And there's some good looks on here. Like, we don't have enough desert courses, so it's nice to get one that does some different stuff. I will say that some of your surfacing looks a little bit giant. And here I think you've taken out a tee box and forgotten to actually do the surfacing. So, like, there's some stuff we could be checking as well. We've got these big sandscapes, got a wind farm in the distance. Yeah. The odd little splash of colour here and all there. I'm going to leap back to the first hole. And off we go. Okay, so par 5 to start. It's always tough with this lighting. I will say with the bunkers, I think you've got two very distinct types of shapes here. So you've got a slightly ragged one here with a finger, and then two kind of almost Pete Dye style ones here. I'd probably want you choosing which, again, here and here, like, go one or the other. The green itself, I like the orientation. The slopes are interesting, definitely. So we want to be hugging this corner as much as we can to open up that angle. We play from this side, that's going to be very tough to access, but not totally impossible. Okay. Hopefully that clears the bunkers at least. Yeah, I knew it was touch and go. It's really tough with the lighting because I think you're damned if you do, damned if you don't. Desert, you've got to go clear lighting. I would have just found an angle where I'm not ever hitting dead into the sun and raise the inclination a bit. Like, this looked great in the previous game. We can't really do it in this one. I think I would have, like, if you're going really big, bold surfacing, there's typically a reason why those courses have lots of waste bunkers. They work really well to fill up the space. I think that this could use that a little bit just through the first hole. Not a bad shot. Might be a little short. It's going to get rejected by that slope, but that's okay. I really think, like, this pin down here is going to be a lot of fun. You're going to tempt people into going for it. Feels like a waterside green in how you protected it. I just think you could be doing more with the bunkers. Would be my main one. Like a big waste bunker short of that looks properly menacing. I think would really lift this hole. What are we at? 145. Ugh, not a good part. Didn't judge the red slope at all. Still, short putt for birdies, always good news. Happy days. 2 par 5s in the first 4 holes is interesting. Par 37 going out. Okay, second hole. I don't think we need the retaining wall. It doesn't really add anything and it makes this terrain look really awkward. If you are going to do this, you can probably do it with just normal walls that exist. Plus, and it's going to sound ridiculous, in real life you wouldn't do this because you don't want someone topping it and it firing back at them. You just don't really get the difference between the two bunker styles. These ones are just simple shapes. These ones could be better. I just think you want something really ragged and would just make this shine. Planting down here, really, really good. I like the detailed stuff in the water with different types of bushes and little flowers as well. Like, you've taken loads of time with this and it looks great. But all of this would be, it's quite a rugged course. Anytime I think rugged, you want those kind of big, bold, ragged kind of style bunkers. If you go to these, then it just removes that impact a little bit. Good drivable 4, because I can go for it. I don't probably raise up this kicker a little bit so that you're incentivizing people to play a little short and left and right even, and it can roll on in. But given your difficulty level, I can understand why you're doing what you're doing. I'm not sure you need this spine. I don't see a pin where this helps necessarily, or rather makes it a better green. This one helps us towards this, and if you play out this side and you're behind it, you're short-sided, and that's going to be tricky, definitely. But for this one, we're just punishing people for playing close to the water because they can't get over that slope. We're not allowing someone to run a ball in towards this back pin. It's stopping you from doing that. I don't think this one doesn't really make a ton of sense. The rest of them do. I'm absolutely not going for this. No chance. I think it's a really good hole. Just that bunkering is a big... it just doesn't really fit. So, or certainly it could fit better. Nope, not quite. I almost think it's also only really drivable for this pin and maybe the ones on this side. Wondered whether if you cut, it feels like a very long green for a drivable 4, which is always tricky because if you drive it and just you end up with a really long putt. I wonder whether making it slightly smaller and just having it constantly curl around and having it or tucked in behind this and asking people to play that. If you imagine this mound moved back to here, you're asking people to hit here to get around that mound. That mound would then also deflect balls that hit straight at it, but not with enough, and bounce them off. I think that would make this more interesting. Just try and harness all the natural features you got. Oh, it's coming back at the end again. Almost, just a little too quick. So far, though, 2 really solid holes, and definitely, I can tell you already, it's definitely way better than your CC course, which is what we like. Like the CC one, you tried some different stuff, and for me personally, it didn't really work. But that's okay. Yeah, same things. Like tie these. Also, the other thing with this is it would tie that natural environment and the course together really nicely. Like you think of your sandhills bunkers, like they bleed in and out of the planting, and that works really well. These look kind of man-made, and you want to make this course feel at one with that environment. It does in so many ways, but could do it a little bit more. Really hard reverse camber. Maybe you can go for this, but I think you're always playing a 3-wood, right? But I like that with a fairway this severe. Personally, I feel like you've made this a little too severe, but I'm not that good of a player. I know you are. I'm sure you can probably sling a driver with a massive fade into that and keep it on the fairway. I would probably like it to be a little bit more subtle, and you could drop this bit of the bunker. Might also be quite cool to have you see part of the fairway from the tee, but have this bunker drop back a little bit more so that creates more fairway for you to see. And then it just gives a few more options, because if I'm landing it here, I'm definitely screwed. I want to be landing it here with fade. But if you allowed this sort of one, that gives a tiger line potentially. Try and mix it up a little bit rather than having there only necessarily be the one way to, or the one major strategy. There will be people who use that. The bridge in the background is hilarious. Like, what are we doing? Oh, is that the entrance to the course, I guess? It's the houses either side that got me. So the random terraced houses. Like the green site. Again, just all feels man-made. And that's kind of I think it's also understanding the type of course you're going for. If you are going for rugged, I would not be using these straight line shapes because they feel really manufactured. That's kind of part of what they do. So that's why you see them on the Ross courses that are very clean, or you see them on the template courses that are trying to show that like it is man-made. A course like this, you kind of want those smoother shapes a little bit more, or like funkier shapes. Think the greens at LACC, stuff like that. Still no luck. Tough course, definitely. I'm happy with my 1 under. Now this one, if memory serves, is par 5 as well. Okay, so we've got cross bunkers, then the fairway runs out a little. There's part of this, I'll come to it in a second, that I really like, and I think is a nice change of pace. That's a fun drive, and the undulations work nicely here. Now, what I really like, I mean, we've gone for a completely different bunker style here. What you've done more of here is actually use normal heavy rough, where it's not been quite so sandy. And I think that makes this work so much better, because previously it just like all of the green was fairway or green, whereas now we're getting more of that standard kind of deserty look, and it works really nicely. It frames much better. You can see the hole like, has what it feels like a bit more of a wider corridor because of that heavy rough that you've used. I'd definitely be doing that. You are chucking some extra bits like a grass bunker, this bunker changing style. Like I think this would work if it was a standard desert course, but you're not going for that. So I'd try to look at how you marry those two. Oh, good, we've dropped some frames again. Hopefully it's okay. Felt that slow. Might be alright. Might be very good. Yeah, say that. That's okay. I mean, again, yeah, you're definitely going for plat, and like that's tough. And that'll be one where people will see that and think that shot is harshly punished. Yeah, possibly, but I think when we're judging this, we've got to have an idea of what this is trying to do. It's a par 5. It's aimed at plat. Like you shouldn't be easily able to eagle this for that level. Still, 2 under 3.5 with those 2 par 5s. I'm happy with that. So yeah, you can see the difference here where there's just this one tiny band of heavy rough. And it just all looks very far away and it's not filling up so much of the space. I think that contrast, this texture does so much for you in kind of merging the two environments. Love this green site. Love this mound. This bunker is so much closer to what we're going for. Partly because of the sculpting, the ragged edge you can see coming up the top. Yeah, like that one a lot. And you can see the difference between these two and that one in what we're doing. Again, I like the camber here is really nicely done. So I like that we can hit to the middle of the fairway and get funneled to the right sort of side in order to attack this green. But if you miss it just a little, you're up over here or in the heavy rough. If you overdo it, you're possibly running off the fairway this way. So you've got to go middle, but just left of middle. See, that one's missing left. And we're in a world of trouble. As deserved. But what I also like is you've given us a way, like the green is sloped in such a way that you've got that recovery shot. Like this is the best hole on the course by a mile, say. And the others were solid, but this one works really nicely together. Something there, maybe. Did worry whether that would get enough. Just get to the fairway. That's all we ask. And I also like that here you brought that slope out and made that work. And that nasty bunker, you've given us a way around it. It's a really good hole. And grab, please. Oh, it did. Still happy with 2 under. I like the bridge. Considering that's made out of trailers, like that looks really good. These bunkers are getting so much better. Like, this is the stuff we should have been doing the whole time. Less so this one. The finger protrusion looks less good. Take these, go even more wild with the shapes, like splash some more sand down here. It's a desert, sand is going to exist. One where we'd love to have 2 separate sand textures for sure. There is a pin. Okay, difficulty level definitely ramps up this hole. I love the tee shot of that mound there. For what you're trying to do, like that little hog's back gives us a lot. There we are. Really cool green site and an interesting angle of the green. Like this one asks a lot of good questions. Definitely tough. Lob wedge, I think. Up 10. I don't think I need to do too much to this. Maybe have it not leap dead right, but then we're below the hole. Yeah, the last 2 holes have been really good. Ooh, and a birdie, no less. Take that and run. I like the trees. Okay, drivable. Hey, Yipley. Really enjoyed your course, by the way. I hope you managed to catch the video. I don't think you were in chat at the time, but okay. So we're on some very wild land. Where do we want to be? I like that you've gone with the green kind of having those trees as aiming markers in the background. That's a nice way of doing it. I guess where I don't want to be depends on the pin position. So I don't mind being down here for this one, because I'd be pitching up it. And let's face it, we're not ever holding this pin. We're just going to heave a drive somewhere down the left. I think you probably could have shrunken this fairway a bit more or added some bunkers or things. Like, we don't... If I want to allow a load of fairway out this side, I will typically try to narrow it this side and let's have a bunker there or something. Like, that's the other thing bunkers are really good for. It's just like making these big fairway shapes, and the width makes sense. When you take them out and you want to allow here to here, the other thing you could have done would have been like some heavy rough mounded areas, maybe. I don't know how well that would have fitted, but I do like the very mounded fairway and having lots of it. It would also help kind of just steer the tee shot a little bit. No worries, buddy. It was good fun. And like, bunkers are good for providing people with visuals of where to go, where not to go. Not that you always want that, but 4 under. Doing well. The water being brought in is really welcome. Like, that adds a little bit of variety here. Okay. Long par 4. Basically 3 wood out here, but you get the angle. Driver down here, you don't. I think for this pin, I'm happy with driver down here. Again, that bunker looks really good. Like, lighting's also helping you, I think, on this one. Weirdly, given that you are away from the sun, which we always used to think was bad, but actually in this game really helps. Okay, well, we're going to be long of this green. Just don't be short. Oh no. And then you don't get... Oh, that's okay. Just about. Glad I put the extra club on it. Just trying to work out... Okay, so that leads into another tee box, sort of, and then this leads into another green. Okay. I might have separated these two. I think that's a long way to have loads of fairway. Like, some planting or the heavy rough, or just like the heavy rough with just in between them would still look very green, but there's no reason we're cutting fairway all the way. Obviously got a backspin on a flop shot. Yeah, that's how we do it. Tight lie. That's how flop shots work. You're gonna have some unhappy plat players about this one. This is one where the green sloping just feels a little bit random and punitive for the sake of punitive. I don't think you lose anything by bringing this shoulder all the way through to the bunker. It would connect the two nicely, make this a tier, and encourage people to play close to the bunker for landing short rather than just sticking a mound in front of the green. And then it's kind of falling away behind it as well, which is harsh. Like, it works. I just think there's neater ways of doing it. Visually strong. Yeah, there is fine. I can't do too much wrong from the middle of the green. In fact, it's just dead straight, you know. Just turned at the end. Thought I had it with like a foot to go. Still, 4 under 3 9. Are we back at the clubhouse out of interest? I don't think I am. I might be. No. That's okay. Okay. Very wide hit. So here again, we're bringing in that heavy rough, and like, I think it looks better with it. I really do. I would have liked you to be a bit more consistent with when you did it and when you didn't. And this one is very much tempting us to hit driver to here. Are there 2 greens for this? I think there are. I would only ever have this green, and I think it's enough. It's sized enough. Anyway, it's big enough. There's 4 pin positions on here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 even. But you definitely don't need the second pin green. You could put this one anywhere. Of course, you don't need it. I don't think it definitely. 2 greens often makes the hole unfocused. I think that's kind of the case here. I think for this green it works well enough. Yeah. Put it this way, I've seen far, far, far more golf holes with 2 greens that don't work and that are worse for having the second green than those that do, which I can probably name about a handful. Most of them on Overbrook Valley. Damn. It's a tough pin to get out and control spin there. Oh, there's a putt. Yeah, the tee box that never was. R.I.P. Okay. Yeah, you're definitely bringing more heavy rough recently. I don't know whether that's a planting thing or like meter maybe. Same thing with the bunkers. Like, this one short looks so much better than any of the others. It just fits. Oh no. Oh no. Okay, but I feel like the green's pretty receptive, so that's all right. We're just going to hit something in here. Horrible stance. Oh, and the old fast. Huh. Green is very friendly. I got way luckier than I deserved there. Has there been light rough on every hole? I feel like I've missed it, or there hasn't necessarily been. I'm not convinced there has been. Okay, that'll be a question for next play. So with all of these, like, I don't just play them the once to judge. I play them once online, you get my first thoughts. There will be multiple plays. I mean, usually for the groups, I can probably get my ranking done with 2 plays of each. And there might be the 1 or 2 within that group that I have to play again, just to make sure. Oh yeah, no, this one does have light rough. Maybe they all did, they just look very similar. The other thing the heavy rough would do is it would make these always look like they're starting a bit closer and just stop you having to plant quite so much. I think it would be really beneficial because this looks a long way away. And it means your planting has to do a lot of heavy lifting. And the planting's good, but there's only so many times you can do the same thing. Not have it look a little repetitive. I really like the green site. I think I'd have probably simplified the green a bit. I don't know if you need the big spine in the middle that looks very man-made, but I think this bunker's short, the water this side. I cut the green about here, I think. Make it slightly smaller. This is so close to being really, really good. Bunker is fine. I like the like you can see the time and effort's gone in to be sinking grass around the lips here. That works really nicely. And grab. No, always going to be difficult. Ah, well, if we'd made it throughout without a bogey, that would have been phenomenal. Especially having had some really poor tempo. I mean, these are a little out of place, perhaps, but I do like them. Might have scattered some more rocks and just made it not just the bunker, or like worked it up to here, maybe. I think some sort of diagonal there, and like have a few more rocks around, so it doesn't look quite so man-made. And again, the heavy rough around the bunker makes a huge difference. Like, this looks so much more menacing for having that heavy rough face. It looks great. Hit the backstop. Oh, it has. Still a dicey part. No, that's low. Oh no, did make it. There's one against the head. I'm really enjoying this. It's definitely challenging. I'm not sure I like the sightline towards the massive concrete slabs. Green site good, front of the bunker good. Green contouring maybe a little tiny bit one-dimensional. I like fairway sloping as well. It feels very empty up here. I wonder whether we were running out of meter. That's certainly the feel you get a little bit. Oh, we're going to run through the fairway, which is all entirely on me. See here, do we have light rough? Yeah, we do. We do, don't we? Just gone straight through it. Oh, okay. I'll take it back. I think we probably do have light rough on every hole. Hey, run down. Let's go. I'll do. There are. But I think that's kind of a. If you're going for this style of kind of desert course and you're having to make that planting work and you're not going for lots of heavy rough, that's going to kind of happen inevitably. But yes, I would agree with that. Okay, these feel a big departure. We've suddenly gone with central bunkers and we've gone with 2. I'm not against the central bunkers, and yeah, we've got another disconnected green. I think I'm playing down here all day. Thanks. Glad you enjoyed it. It's a bastard. That's what we do. Yeah, I really like it. Kind of does defend against the angle. This is probably the pin, and the back ones. I'd always be going down here because I feel like I can land it shortish and it will just roll down like so. And like I've played that without any danger of those central bunkers whatsoever, which is another thing that with no trees on the property, it's hard to defend against that sort of stuff. Same, yeah. When you have randomly done the very geometric things, I really don't think they work. I love the concept of this, where it's you're missing this green, you're running down into this bunker because it's all fairway. I think that's great. You can still do ragged shapes with splines. You have to work really hard at them, but you can do it. I like the concept of this one. I just lose the stuff that looks so like man-made and like deliberate. So like you've got the one slope there, the one big slope there, this bunker that does that L-shaped thing, the rectangular green, like that doesn't really jive with all the rest of the stuff you've been doing so well. I do like that this one's drivable. May not be the play, but I don't think I can hit much better than that, and the slope should just about slow it out. Yeah, I can't do better than that. There's a good amount of risk and reward because I would not want to be in that bunker. And I've got no confidence necessarily that I think hitting a driver into this green and missing right would lead to heavy rough and a pitch up, and I think that's a really good defense. Like this is a really well done drivable par four that doesn't require a ton of bunkering. Just one really well placed bunker. Stylishly, I've got some issues with it, but Yipley's is Galloway Port Authority, which the playthrough will be coming up in a couple of days, I think. But it's on like all of the playthroughs are on Twitch. If you just go back through the videos on demand, you'll find them. This one again looks nice. I love the way that pin stretches all the way onto this side, and you're just taking on that canyon more and more. But actually, you've got a little bit of help if you want to. My critique would be I think it's a bit too long for the Cape style tee shot. You probably don't want 200 yards. I would go probably 180 or so for this. Would look about right. But we'll try it anyway. Nearly. Yeah, Linksy style course. It's got some really cool features. Shouldn't have left it in there. This is the one where we just decide we can't putt or chip. Oh well, it was going well. 7 under still not bad. And 18. Pretty open fairway for 18. Tiny green. Okay. Tiny back to front, front to back green. Okay. Par 5 though. So you can hit kind of anywhere off the tee. I'd probably want a little challenge on the tee shot for a closing hole. No, Cypria was no goal. It was Galloway was his. I think you can tie these bunkers together, and again, the shapes are really just not doing very much. I like the propped up green. There we go. And again, this bunker idea at the back, I think the sculpting's a little off. It's gotten very high at the front. I don't really know why. And actually, I kind of want you missing that long. This green again just feels a little out of place with the surroundings. Like it's all very symmetrical, and I'm not sure that's really making sense. Now the challenge is there on this shot for sure. Right. Oh, that's gone right. Interesting. Got very lucky. Very lucky. And the pin is a little crowned, which I don't love. I think we can defend are generally better even at plat level, but I kind of understand it. Okay, and some nice stuff off the side with like the Kashmir elms kind of representing a vineyard, maybe? I don't know. Oh, all right. Well, we finished -8. Like, I think maybe, like, I think you probably have hit your difficulty level just. It is probably a little on the easy side, but it's kind of how the course. I wouldn't have wanted you to make it much harder or and keep that style of course. Things I think I would look at, like as you'd heard throughout, bunkering would be one. Where you're putting your heavy rough would be two, just in terms of the amount of blending you can get. I do think you could have used a par 5 between 4 and 18. There's a lot of par 4s and 3s that are doing some heavy lifting there, and a 5 would really help there. Equally, 18 kind of in that wind at least felt like a long par 4, really. Even though I was hitting a 5 wood in, it's probably a par 5. What else? I think it's just that environment stuff, really, and then the occasional geometric stuff that didn't really work. I think my main thing would always be have a really clear vision for your course and make sure everything just, like, supports that vision. So if it is rugged, right, how is your bunkering supporting that? How's your planting supporting that? How are the fairway sculpting and green sculpting supporting that, and green shapes and all of that? Does it kind of make sense? If it's going for manicured and clean, vice versa. And you can blend the two, but you have to be really, really careful. And then consistency within that as well. But I thought there were a lot of holes I really enjoyed there, like, and some really cool stuff. I think the second drive ball par 4 was great. There's some really nice green sites. 12 green site I remember I loved. Yeah, played all right, apart from 17. 17 was dreadful. But like, you can. But what's nice about this course is it is plat level, but it's also not all point and shoot. There was a lot of. I was able to play to one side of the green, knowing that the ball would roll inwards or not miss short, and like you can manage your way around the course a little bit. And I tend to play better on those style of courses. So yeah, that's us then. And we're all caught up again. So this was Redbone by In Your Rear View, which was a good fun course. Give it a play. Give all of the others a play. Follow along, and yeah, we've got some more yet to come, and I'll probably back some playthroughs another evening this week. Thanks for joining. See you again soon.